Hi, welcome to Get Personal with Finance. Today I have a great question, and it's a loaded one. What 5 personal financial lessons you were never taught in school? Now, I went to a lot of schooling in a sense that I guess I got my BA degree, but the one that really cemented me in my industry was the College of Financial Planning. So I passed my board exam 2011 and become a certified financial planner. Even with all that education, I can tell you that it's just a lot of book knowledge. There's not much lessons in there. So let me share with you what are the 5 things that I really extract from my overall educational experience, including working with my clients professionally as well too. So the first one is that education is not enough. Your education is not enough. So whatever education that you got from schooling or it's just a start. There's always more. And again, you got to make a commitment to continuously learn and to better yourself, and you will better your finance as a result. And of course, read into, even the best investor with that reputation is Warren Buffett, right? He prides himself on how much he doesn't know, and he's constantly learning from the people that he surrounds himself, and he reads a lot. There you go. That should tell you something. But your education, whatever school that you got your education from, even in personal finance, is not enough. My God, I cannot stress that enough. If you think just by whatever they teach you, and you're like, oh, I'm good, or if you ever taken a class like I did when I was in college, a personal finance class, believe it or not, I got the highest grade in the class. That's still not enough. There's just so much more. It's just a foundation, and a grade doesn't mean anything, right? It's your own personal success, like how you look at yourself as well too. Like that level of success. Are you proud the fact that you really, give it your all, learn as much as you can, or you're a good lifelong learner? How do you look at yourself too, right? So. But I think there's this misconception that I see that a lot of people think, oh, I have a degree in finance, I have a degree in whatever it is, or I have this training or this license, and I have a lot of licenses, right, to show for. It's not enough. I cannot stress that enough. It's sad that I see that people stop learning, and this leads me to this one quote about experiences, right? Because folks in my industry, we like to embellish and talk about our many years of experience, where I've caught a lot of people that they say, hey, I have 20 years of experience in the financial services industry, and you look at their license and they've only been in practice for like 3 or 4 years. Go figure, right? And I don't know what they count as experience, but you see how they stretch a definition. And other people where it's reversed, they have 30, 40 years of experience. But remember this quote that it was shared to me with a mentor of mine, is that he said that, John, experience can just mean doing the same thing with increasing confidence. So you can keep doing the wrong thing or things that are bad, but with increasing confidence, that's your experience. It doesn't mean that you're wise or you know better. So it's just something I've learned, that when somebody says they have a lot of experience, it doesn't mean that they're like appropriate experience or they're really good at what they do, right? Kind of like that fun quote about, experts are still experts even if they're wrong. So that's what I'm saying, is that it's never enough. You got to continue to educate yourself. So school is not where, when you're done with school, you're done. Got it? So that's the number one lesson that I've learned in personal finance, or just in general, but definitely for my personal finance education, including my professional finance education. Don't kid yourself in terms of it's just when you learn something, and there's more to learn, right? So all right, the second thing is go beyond your professors, your teachers, whoever that's teaching you. So that's a lesson that has served me well, that I've learned, that's made me that's helped me to think differently. In my opinion, that's helped me with more success in my profession and my investments, even though I make plenty of bad investments too, but I get better and better, is because, again, I go beyond what that what that person, right, have taught me, but I seek other education as well. So just imagine if all the education I got was from my class at the college I went to, the university I went to, from my personal finance class. I'm good to go. I took a class, I got an A+, and I'm good to go. No, it doesn't work that way. You want to get also education, recommendation, advice, whatever you want to call it, from people that have already, that they practice what they preach or teach or share with you. So like you wouldn't get, let's say you want to build a business, you want to start a side business, but you're getting advice from someone who has never started a business or know how to start a business. What advice or input you get, right? So if you talk to someone on the flip side who's built multiple businesses, who's, what you're looking for, then that makes sense. But don't get advice from random people or not random people, but people you know, but just don't have that expertise. It doesn't make sense. Like you want to learn about investing, fill in the blank, but you're talking to someone who doesn't have that expertise. So what else can you expect, right? So really, really important, and it's so important to, when you get advice from someone, learn, where did they come from, right? Where did that education that they have come from? What experience do they have, right? What were their success and failures? Really be critical about that. So that's the lesson too. And actually, just to touch on that, it's like, for example, you want to be financially independent, financially free. Of course, you want to talk to someone with that type of experience, right? And especially, and again, like I've learned this, like you can be successful in your faith, your business, your career, personal finance. There's many different areas, right? So if you want to get relationship advice, try not to get someone who's been divorced like 3 times, right? That's probably not the best person. But if you get advice from someone, try to see it from like their overall picture of quality of life. Let's say they're really good at investing, if that's what you're looking for, or business, but they really failed in the category of family or faith, but that you also care about, then you might want to take that advice with a grain of salt, because you may end up with a great business or whatever that you're seeking, great learning, a great investment, but your family and your faith is not good. You want to find someone that hopefully can also, that you're conscious of where the advice comes from. That's what I'm saying, that you take the good and kind of ignore the bad, but also learn that if your goal is to be great with your faith, your family, and then your business, career, or investing, then just be conscious of where you're getting the advice. That's what I'm saying, right? And learn from the good, and also learn from the bad too. So just be conscious of that. And then the other thing from personal education, from personal financial education that I didn't get in school, and profession as well too, there's so many ways that you can make money, or there's a difference between making money and working for money, right? Because there's 2 distinctions, because you can trade, there's 2 things you can trade to make money. One, you can trade your time for money, and you can trade ideas for money. Obviously, you can trade ideas for money, it's worth a lot. Let's say you have an amazing idea that you're able to execute a business. That can be hundreds of millions or billions of dollars, right? But when you trade time for money, it's limited. Like in a day, how many working hours? 8 hours, right? There's so much money you can make. So something I've learned is that you gotta do both and find every single way possible. There's many ways possible to have income. You can have it from passively, right? Investing. You can have it from trading ideas, solving problems, to just being, your time is worth a lot. Like, for example, when I started, you can work at a fast food restaurant for 8 hours a day, paying you $15 an hour, right? Well, there you go. You trade time for money there. But if you start to be entrepreneurial and create some great idea or business or product or service, then that can be worth a lot, right? So just there's so many, there's no, it's personal finance, that education is not linear, it's very dynamic. There's no one cut way. So what I mean by that, where being dynamic, is that it's synergistic. It's not about 1 + 1 = 2. that is not at all the case. I mean, that I was educated about. Just like from my family and my parents, I always thought that, oh, you get a good education, you get a good job, and then that's it, right? It isn't. You can build a business on the side. You can have, or you can partner up on, and do multiple things. You can invest passively, actively. You can build a career and build a side career. There's so much. It's very dynamic. So 1 + 1 can equal 3, 4, 5, or 10. So it's a multiple of things that you can put together that really adds to your overall financial impact or result, right? Where you can make a lot more money, you can have a lot more time with your family, you can be a lot more productive, you can do more with your business because you hire good people. There's a lot. So that's another lesson I've learned. There's so many other ways to make a living. Okay, so that's 3. Number 4 is really important. Your values drive your finances. Don't let your finances drive you, right? Or your values. Because I think a lot of people don't really think critically through this. And I see it. Not many are my clients for sure, but it's sad to say that literally money drives them, not their values, right? So your values should drive your financial decisions, should drive your finances for those quality of life goals, right? For the things that would make you happy and complete. But if your goal is, if you're just driven by money and money is in the driver's seat and not your values, then you're gonna be in a world of hurt, I guess you can say, to put it simply. It's gonna really screw things up. And that's what I see. I like in my profession, what I witness and see, and just with my family too, making a lot of money is not gonna instantly make you happy. It doesn't equal that. A lot of money equals happiness. No, it doesn't. It's not that simple. If that was that simple, my profession would be so easy, and I don't have to think, or I don't have to have, there's no value conversations that I have with my clients. It's just, hey, I would just have a calculator and add the math and voila, done. It's beyond that. That's why they call it personal finance, right? The personal part is really in my opinion, is like the 80-90%, and the finance part is very little. Because when we make decisions, it's dependent on where you are with your finances. It's definitely a lot more around values, with your values to drive your financial decision making. So something to think about. It's a very, it's hard to cover, but it's, and there are great books out there that you can read too, how to make value-based financial decisions. You can Google that, and there's great articles, and there's a book that you can, it's called Financial Intelligence, How to Make a Value-Based Financial Decision. It's a great book. So one of the best books I've ever read, and it's a great education. It's written by another certified financial planner that I got to interact with and know. And lastly, one of the best and this is also kind of in life too, personal financial lesson is you got to be critical. I understand when you're an investor, defaultly we're optimistic, right? The reason why we invest, it's gonna grow. But one of the lessons I learned is you got to be critical, and it's not like critical as in being pessimistic. It's critical being, you just got to make sure you get your questions answered, and you got to be asking a lot of questions. That's what I mean by being critical. Wishful and hopeful thinking is not how investors or how you should make financial decisions. Those are, when you're a kid, but when you become more of an adult, wishful and hopeful thinking, you got to get beyond that. It's good to have that. I'm not discrediting that. By the way, speaking of hopeful thinking, I remember one of my clients, I went into his office, he's a successful realtor, and on his desk, there's a big old wooden sign that says, "Hope is not a plan." And it ingrains in my mind, and I love it, because hope is not a plan. You need to have a real plan, and you need to think things through. A plan helps you to think things through and help you think of the different scenarios, right? The pros and cons, how things can go in either direction, right? So again, I get the positive thinking, like I'm very positive. I'm that's my nature. I always see, like the cup is half full. So I'm a big believer of stumbling forward, learning, right? And building upon your, when you have a loss or a bad investment, you learn, you want to make sure that bad investment was good tuition paid so you can be better the next time around. So I cannot stress enough, but our school system doesn't teach us to critically think enough. I don't know what schools, whoever's watching this, but we can never get enough of that. And I have great business partners and colleagues that help me challenge my critical thinking and makes me think critically, so I can be better for myself, my family, and of course, my clients and the people I care about. So so those are the 5 lessons I can think of in general, and I'm sure I can add more to that list, but those are the top 5 that I can think of. And again, it's constant. I'm learning all the time. Thanks again for watching. Hopefully you enjoy. Please like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.